So far, we've talked about calculating OASDI, Medicare, and FIT for the employee. We've talked about calculating OASDI and Medicare taxes for the employer, but we've not talked about depositing OASDI, Medicare, and FIT. Depositing means giving it to the federal government. So that's our next topic. So both employers and employees will pay payroll taxes. Employers continue recording the various tax liabilities until it is time to remit, and remit is a fancy word that just means pay. So employers continue recording the various tax liabilities until it is time to pay to the tax authorities. So we're going to figure out, well, when do we have to pay the tax authorities for OASDI, HI, and FIT? But before we can do this, every employer must get a federal identification number, an EIN. An EIN is a number assigned by the IRS that is used by an employer when recording and paying payroll and income taxes. To get an EIN, an employer would fill out Form SS4. So let's get into the nitty-gritty of figuring out when we pay Medicare, OASDI, and FIT. So at the top of the screen, notice I call it FICA, FIT. And in my class is the only place you will hear it called FICA, FIT. So I say FICA twice, not because there are two FICA taxes, OASDI and Medicare, but I say FICA twice to remind students that when the employer pays Medicare, OASDI, and federal income tax, they have to pay the employee portion of FICA and the employer portion of FICA, because a lot of students forget about paying both parts. So I will be calling it FICA, FIT, but what I'm really talking about is when does the employer have to pay OASDI, Medicare, and FIT? So to figure out when the employer pays, we have to use something called a look-back period. A look-back period is used to determine how frequently the employer must pay FICA, FIT. And to do that, the government looks at total FICA, FIT during a 12-month period in the past. So looking at this graph at the bottom, which comes from the book, what we're trying to show here is we're trying to figure out when in 2017 we had to pay FICA, FIT. So what the IRS does is it looks back at a 12-month period from July 1st, 2015 to June 30th, 2016. So they look back to see how much you paid in FICA, FIT during that 12-month period. And the rule is, if the company's FICA, FIT deposits for this period are less than $50,000 for that year, for that 12 months, the employer is considered a monthly depositor for the next year, which in this example is 2017. If during that 12-month period the employer paid more than or equal to $50,000 of FICA, FIT, the employer must deposit FICA, FIT semi-weekly in 2017. And we'll figure out what semi-weekly means in just a few slides. But the main thing to know is that if the FICA, FIT was less than $50,000, the employer is a monthly depositor. If it's more than $50,000, or technically equal to $50,000, then they're going to pay FICA, FIT semi-weekly. Now you should be asking, well, what if you're a new company and therefore you've not paid FICA, FIT in the past because you're brand new? Well, new companies without a 12-month look-back period will just become monthly depositors for their first year. So let's look at some specific rules about paying FICA, FIT and when to pay. Generally, the more the employer owes in FICA, FIT, the more frequently they need to deposit it. And remember, deposit just means to pay it to the IRS. Another rule is if the deposit date, let's say you need to deposit by the 15th of the month. If that deposit date falls on a non-banking day, which means Saturday, Sunday, or holiday, the deposit date is extended to the next business day. So if you have to pay on the 15th of the month, and the 15th of the month is a Saturday, then you don't have to pay until the next Monday. And if that Monday was a holiday, then you would pay on Tuesday. So now most employers are going to be either a monthly depositor or a semi-weekly depositor. Monthly depositor is easier to understand, so we'll start with that on the next slide. So if the government looks at your 12-month look-back period and tells you that you are a monthly depositor, that means you obviously have to pay FICA FIT monthly, and the day of the month is the 15th of the month. For example, any pay date that falls in January must have the FICA FIT taxes deposited by February 15th. Now let's look at semi-weekly depositors. This is a little more complicated. If the government looks at the look-back period and finds that your FICA FIT was greater than or equal to 50,000, you will be a semi-weekly depositor. So if the payday falls on a Saturday, Sunday, Monday, or Tuesday, then the employer must deposit FICA FIT taxes on the third banking day after Tuesday, which is usually the following Friday. If payday is Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday, then the employer must deposit FICA FIT taxes on the third banking day after Friday, which is the following Wednesday. And if the deposit date falls on a non-banking day, like Saturday, Sunday, or holiday, the deposit date is extended to the next business day. So what does this all mean? The general rule is semi-weekly depositors get at least 3 banking days to make its payroll deposit. Payment day is usually Wednesday or Friday if there are no holidays. Now, you're not going to have to memorize this for the test, but we will do a homework problem to give us some practice figuring this out. In the real world, if you're a semi-weekly depositor, you just come to this slide and figure out what day you're going to have to pay your FICA FIT. So a word of caution about semi-weekly depositors. The word semi-weekly technically means twice a week. That does not mean that a semi-weekly depositor is going to be paying twice a week. Remember the general rule. A semi-weekly depositor means you get at least 3 banking days after payday to pay FICA FIT. And again, FICA FIT just means the employee portion of OASDI and the employer portion of OASDI, the employee portion of Medicare, the employer portion of Medicare, and then the employee's federal income tax withholdings. So usually employers are monthly depositors of FICA FIT or semi-weekly depositors, but there are some other rare exceptions. If a company owes less than $2,500 in total FICA FIT taxes, they have to deposit their FICA FIT quarterly. If a company's big like Amazon and they owe more than $100,000 in total FICA FIT, they must deposit all FICA FIT by the end of the next business day. So this touches on that general rule. The more that you owe, the more frequently they want you to pay. So if you have a little bit, like less than $2,500, they'll let you pay quarterly. But if you have a lot, like over $100,000, they want it the next business day.